Hi, I'm Gil Kennedy, President and CEO of Har-Co Credit Union. Today I have the pleasure to speak to Jen Swanson from the Humane Society of Harford County. Jen, thank you for agreeing to do this podcast.
Sure, it's my pleasure. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Thank you so much. Jen, I always like to start these podcasts with the question, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I've been here at the Humane Society of Harford County for 5 years as the executive director. And for 5 years prior to that, I was the executive director at the Baltimore Humane Society. And prior to that, I was the administrative and executive assistant at the Baltimore Basilica downtown. That's sort of where I honed all of my nonprofit skills, fundraising, marketing, all that good stuff.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, tell me about the Humane Society.
So the Humane Society of Harford County, we are a nonprofit open admission animal shelter. What that means is that we are a nonprofit. Everyone knows what that is. We contract with the Harford County government to provide sheltering services. The government itself does not run its own shelter. We do not do animal control. However, animal control is a function of the Harford County Sheriff's Office. So if they pick up animals, they come to us, we care for them. That's what our contract does. Open admission means that we are required to accept any animal that comes to us in need, as long as it is coming from a resident of Harford County looking to give up their pet, or as a stray animal found in Harford County, or of course, as I mentioned, if animal control brings us an animal as part of a cruelty case, neglect, abuse, that kind of thing. We are not part of the Humane Society of the United States. A lot of people think that because we have Humane Society in our name, that we're part of that. We are not, and we're also not affiliated with other nonprofits or government shelters that have Humane Society in their names. A lot of times people think that we're all kind of together. And we're our own entities. We certainly work together, but we're all separate entities.
I noticed on your website, and when I first began looking at your website, I saw dogs and cats, but then I was surprised to see all types of animals. So
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that. How do you deal with a goat and chickens and bunny rabbits?
Yeah.
And
A little bit of everything, yeah. We are a little bit of a Noah's Ark over here. We do take in every type of animal. Now, that being said, if someone came to us and for some reason had a tiger or something like that, which sometimes people do throw that at me, well, what if you got a tiger? We'd call the zoo. But typically it's dogs and cats primarily, but we take in everything from fish to horses. So you may, if you're looking for a guinea pig, a rabbit, a goat, right now we have pigs, we have goats, we have roosters, we have bunnies. We have a lot of different types of animals at any given time. So we always tell people, check our website. You might be surprised what you find there.
Wow. So how would somebody, what kind of animal services do you provide if I have an elderly parent who has a dog? Is that something that would perhaps come your way and I don't have the ability to take care of the animal?
Yeah, so technically animals have to be surrendered by their legal owner. Under the eyes of the law, animals are considered property, just like a car. So if someone were to come and try to surrender someone else's pet, we do need to go through some proper steps to ensure that it is the wishes of the actual owner, as much as we possibly can. Sometimes that does include getting other agencies involved that have the ability to go meet with that person or something like that. But yes, we get calls like that all the time. Unfortunately, we do get animals from time to time where the person has been found deceased in their home and the pet is there. And there's a lot of different little circumstances like that we run into on a pretty regular basis.
Well, how would it happen with like a goat? Goats typically aren't pets, and goats typically aren't found stray.
Oh, they aren't?
Really? I'm like, really?
Yeah, no, actually a lot of our goats come in as strays.
Really?
They are because they're smart and they like to get up on top of things, and sometimes that means they can get out of their enclosures. Same thing with pigs. Pigs are very smart and they can get out of their enclosures. So we get a surprisingly large number of animals that you wouldn't necessarily think would be stray as stray.
So you would get a phone call from a community person saying, hey, I see this pig walking around my yard?
Yeah, so we do. We get, in fact, we have sightings, is what we call them, of random animals out in the community. Now, we do not go out and get them. That would be a function of animal control. So we would refer them to contact animal control. If it's a wildlife issue, because there's also, we do get wildlife in here. We are not a wildlife rehabilitator. You have to be licensed in the state of Maryland to do that. But if a Good Samaritan brings in an animal, a wildlife type animal, or it comes in through animal control, we will work with the proper agencies to make sure that that animal gets hopefully rehabilitated and released back into the wild.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Jen, when March rolled around, the world began to change dramatically. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do these podcasts was to talk to my membership and talk to the community at large about how people are dealing with the events of COVID. Mm-hmm. As it relates to your organization, how has this pandemic and the economic implications affected the Humane Society?
Well, from an economic standpoint, it has been very challenging because we have not been able to have pretty much all of our fundraising events this year. Our last actual fundraising event was in November of 2019. That was the last one we were able to have. Thankfully, we do have a golf tournament coming up, which is on September 3rd, and we will be able to have that event, although it will be very different from how we've had it in the past. But we're able to have it, so we're thankful for that. I don't know when we will be able to have another fundraising event per se, but we are doing a lot of social media fundraising, and we've just pivoted a little bit in how we're doing our fundraising. So from an economic standpoint, yes, definitely a challenge. We did receive a PPP loan, so we were able to, we haven't had to let anyone go, cut any hours or anything like that, which has been wonderful. One of the biggest surprises that we found is actually that we were preparing ourselves for an onslaught of animals, right? People were losing their jobs, weren't sure what the future was going to hold for them. We were all shelters across the country preparing for this. And all shelters across the country were pleasantly surprised to find that our intake numbers were down significantly for the first several months of this compared to prior years, right? However, in the past, I would say 3 to 4 weeks, we have seen that number creep back up, and now it's kind of back to where we were, and the shelter is full again, and all of that kind of thing. But for a very long time, intake numbers were extremely low, which was good because it was a stressful time for our staff, and the fact that we had less animals was very good. We have a lot of animals in foster right now, particularly underage kittens, and we're always looking for more foster homes. And then another big change has been we have not had any volunteers. They haven't been able to come in since March due to the shutdown. So that's been very different to not have those volunteers running around the shelter all day. They become like staff. You see them all the time, every day. You get to know each other, and that just ended. And we don't know when we'll be able to have them back. So that's that's disappointing that we haven't been able to have them in. And then one of our obviously our biggest operational change is the fact that our front doors are locked. So we are open to the public by appointment for adoptions and surrenders. We've always sort of done surrenders by appointment whenever possible. But for things like if people need to come use our pet food bank or things like that, or if they find a stray pet, they don't have to have an appointment for those types of things or for any type of true emergency. But yes, for adoptions, they have to make an appointment, look at the animals on our website. We send them an online application to fill out so we can sort of go through that before they even get here, see what animals they're interested in, and be ready for them when they get here to meet those animals. That's one of our biggest operational changes, on top of course, the enhanced cleaning protocols. Everyone's wearing a mask, social distancing, all the good stuff that everyone has to do.
Right.
Yeah.
So I take it that your major source of funding is events, donations, things like that?
It's actually the county government. Thanks to the administration, we have been blessed, honestly, with a lot of support from the county government. We received, so our annual operating budget is $1.3 million a year, and we received $950,000 of that from the county government the last 2 years. And we are incredibly grateful for that. In fact, they also helped significantly with the construction of this beautiful facility. People who have been to our old building know what a change it is, and the county government was instrumental in making that happen as well.
Has this operation always been on Connolly Road?
Yes, in fact, we were founded in 1946. It was a dairy farm. Mrs. Elsa Voss was our founder, and the Boniface family of Billy Boniface fame were the original caretakers of the animals and the property back in the day. So in 1946, Miss Voss bought this property and the farm that was here, and the house. There were a couple little houses on the property, built kennels onto those, and the rest is history.
How big is this facility?
This facility is 19,000 square feet. It's mostly open to the public, so if you come in, you'll really see how large it is. There are some areas, of course, like our veterinary areas and quarantine areas and things like that, which are not open to the public, but that's a relatively small space compared to what is. So when you come in here, it's definitely a little bit of a maze, and it's very different from what it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I take it, though, that if your budget's 1.3 and the county provides 900, still a third of your budget is through fundraising. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, but so if I wanted to make a donation, how would I go about doing that?
You could certainly mail us a check, right? But we do have a website where you can make a donation securely online. You can set up a recurring donation if you wanted to just have like a recurring $25, $10, whatever it is, every month or once a year, however you want to set it up. And then occasionally hopefully we'll be out at community events as well, and we always have a donation box on our table at all of those events.
Very good. What's your website?
It's harfordshelter.org.
Okay, excellent, excellent. I always like to wrap these podcasts up with a question of, gaining a thought or a perspective as it relates to your organization or what's going on in the community from the people that I talk to. So what's a thought or perspective that you could share with our members and the community at large?
For me, I'm kind of a hippie at heart, so I always just want people to be nice to each other, which it's such a simple thing to say, but it's such a hard thing to do sometimes. But I really just do feel that the Humane Society is here to talk about the humane treatment of animals, but we're animals too, and we need to treat each other humanely and be able to coexist in this world, which is increasingly difficult to coexist in, right?
Right.
But I think that we as the Humane Society, myself as Jen Swanson, the philosophy is just be nice to everyone, and it'll be a better world for everybody.
Everyone should have a pet.
Everyone should.
Maybe they'd be nicer.
Yeah, maybe, yes. And it's true because animals it's been proven scientifically, animals reduce stress. And right now, if you're stressed, which I think a lot of people are, a pet might be your best friend.
I said to my wife, I may be coming home with a dog. So.
Okay, we can make that happen.
Well, listen, Jen, this has been great, and I appreciate you taking the time really to educate not only myself but also my members and the community about all the wonderful things that you do here at the Humane Society. And we're so gracious to have you in the community. So
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We really do appreciate it, and we're here for anybody if they need us.
I would again, I thank all my viewers out there. I thank my members. Please. Share this with families and friends and on your Facebook. Thank you.